Hello everybody and welcome back to A Royal Reader. My name is Cece and today is a very exciting day because I am going to be showing you the TBR game that I have created. So I know it's a little bit late to be uploading this, and can we also just ignore the fact that I have scratched myself. But anyway, let's get into this video. I cannot wait to show you guys this game, and yeah. So this game is sort of inspired by a couple of other TBR games that I have seen roaming through the YouTubes, and it's basically you take a D20 dice. So this is used for a lot of RPG games. I mainly use this for when I used to play D&D, which is Dungeons and Dragons. It's obviously got 20 sides on it, and I have correlated 20 prompts for each of these. So let's get into the prompts. Alrighty, so in the game of Dungeons and Dragons, if you roll a 1 on the dice, it is a very, very bad thing. You never want to get a natural 1, and by natural I mean like it just rolls on a 1. You don't have to add or minus anything in order to get it, because in Dungeons and Dragons you can add numbers or you can subtract numbers depending on like stats and things like that. So when you roll a natural 1, it's really, really bad. It's like if you're walking and you see a puddle, if you roll a natural 1, you're gonna slip and fall and drown into it basically. So for the number 1, we have add another book to the TBR. So adding a book for the TBR is something that I'm sure a lot of people are terrified about, and the fact that I have decided to put this on the number 1 spot because it's a natural 1. I thought it was rather fitting to have like something that was really scary to do. So yes, we have number 1, add a book to the TBR. So number 2 is going to be read a contemporary. I don't read a lot of contemporaries. I don't even think I have a contemporary on my shelf at the moment, so I'll have to borrow it out from the library or just get it on the Kindle. But either way, I'm really hoping I don't roll a 2. And then we have number 3, which is to add a manga or a comic to the TBR. I don't own any comics or mangas, but I am really, really interested in picking some up. So I do want to start branching out and selecting some to read. If you have any suggestions, please leave them down below in the comments. For number 4, we have to read a middle grade. I have just started delving into middle grade as of 2020 when I decided to read the Nevermore series by Jessica Townsend, and I am really excited to continue reading some more middle grades that have been published recently, I guess. And so yeah, I do have some middle grades on my shelf that I do want to reread, like Percy Jackson, so I am hoping I can get to those. Continuing on with number 5, it is add a reread to the TBR. So this is the year I'm going to try and reread a lot of books so I can try and finish a lot of series, and I feel like this will be the best way to do that. I'm going to go and get my cat. Alrighty, number 6 is going to be start a new series or complete a series. So this is for the books that I am wanting to start that are a part of a series that I haven't read yet. Or on the opposite end is the series that I have only like read the first 2 books in the series and I have like a 3rd one left. So I'm excited to get this as well so I can tick off some more series for the year. So the next couple of ones start going into actual genres of the books that I have on my shelves, and I decided to put these in the middle because I feel like those are the ones that I roll the most. Speaking from experience anyway, so let's get into them. So starting off with number 7, we have add a YA fantasy to the TBR. So obviously I have quite a few YA fantasies on the shelves, as you can see from behind me. So I do have some that I actually haven't read and some series that I haven't finished yet. So I am hoping to try and knock those down with this. Next, at number 7, we have read a adult sci-fi. So I do have a few on my bookshelves. Not very many, but yes, I do want to start branching out into more adult genres instead of just adult fantasy, so I figured this would be the best way. Did I say number 7 before? I meant number 8. Coming in at number 9 is going to be the latest hauled book. So this is going to be the most recent purchase that I have, and I need to read that. Pretty self-explanatory. Coming in at number 10, we have to read an adult fantasy. So I do have one shelf just here and then another shelf at the top just there that have all of the adult fantasy books that I haven't read, and so I do want to branch out and actually start reading some adult fantasy and continuing adult fantasy as well, so yeah. Coming in at number 11, we have to read a historical fiction / fantasy. Just over here at the bottom shelf, which you can't see, I actually have a whole bunch of fantasy plus some sort of historical fictions, so I do want to start reading through those. I have things like The Diviners by Libba Bray and like The Lovely War by Julie Berry, so things like that I do want to start getting into because I do really enjoy reading historical fiction. Alright, number 12, we have to read a classic. Hopefully I don't roll this number too many times because I am going back to uni this year and I'm focusing on literature, so I have a feeling I'll be reading like, you know, Shakespeare and things like that, so I'm already going to have a few classics on the list. So I don't really want to bog down my TBR with so many classics, but I do really want to read a few of them, and I do have a full shelf dedicated to the classics that I currently own, so yes. Coming in at number 13, we have read a YA sci-fi. I do have quite a few of these. They are currently sitting on the shelf with the adult sci-fi, so sci-fi is one that I don't read too much of, but when I do read it, I do really enjoy it, so yeah. Coming in at number 14, we have the oldest publication date. I have a few very old fantasy books that I have not read that I do really want to, and they've been on my TBR for years. Kind of like the David Eddings series, The Belgorod, which is the series that my name Sinidra actually comes from, and it's one that both of my parents read and they both really liked the story and they decided to obviously name me after one of the characters, and so I want to read that, and yeah. Plus a lot of the sort of adult fantasy series that I want to read, like Robin Hood and stuff, is published back in like early 90s or something like that, so yeah. Next up at number 15, we have read a book by a Black or Asian author. This is so that I can start introducing more authors of color into my bookshelves and things like that. I haven't read very many, but I do plan on reading more, so if you guys have any suggestions, please leave them down below in the comments. I have a few already on my bookshelves that I am excited to get to, so hopefully the game will allow me. So coming in at number 16, we have read a book that has LGBTQ+ characters. I don't have very many on my shelves at the moment, but I am planning on branching out and getting more of them into my shelves. So if you guys have any suggestions, please leave them down below. I always want to be inclusive with my reading, so this is why I've added that to the list. Number 17 is a wild card one, and this is going to be to call a friend. So this is where I obviously, you know, get either my sister or my roommate or my mum or my dad to come and pick a book from my shelf for me to read. Pretty self-explanatory, and I'm excited to see what happens. Number 18 we have is to read a thriller or a horror. This is hopefully going to be more aimed towards the October period, but if I end up having to read a horror or a thriller in like February, the month of love, I might read You, that book that's about that stalker, so yeah. Number 19 is going to be read the newest released book on your bookshelves. So obviously that's going to be the one that was published most recently. Hopefully I get that one because it will most likely be one that I have as like an anticipated release, but we shall see if the dice decides. And then we have number 20. So if you roll a natural 20 in D&D, it is like the best of the best type of number that you could possibly get. It's sort of like if you shoot an arrow at the bad guy and you roll a natural 20 for a hit, that arrow is going to go straight through the eyeball into the brain and kill the big bad. with no worries and no problems whatsoever. So natural 20 is one that you strive to get the most, and so if I roll a natural 20, I'm going to pick whatever book I want to read. So I figured that was quite a good mix for the natural 1 versus natural 20. I figured that was pretty good. Now the punishment that I have in place if I do not complete the TBR that I have, it is going to be for the next month I will be rolling at a disadvantage. So when you get disadvantage in D&D, it means that you get to roll the D20 dice twice and you have to take the lower number. So this obviously affects a lot of things. If you are, you know, rolling to try and hit something that has a to hit number of like, you know, 10, and you roll either a 20 or a natural 1 and you're at disadvantage, you have to pick the natural 1, which means you're going to miss. So that's going to be the punishment, as well as going to be reading the worst rated book on the Goodreads TBR. So not looking forward to this, but I'm hoping that I'm going to be reading everything that's on the TBR so I don't have to get a disadvantage, but yeah. So that I think is pretty much all of the rules, I think. After January, I'm going to be doing 6 rolls, so that equals 6 books. For January, seeing as I have been struggling with reading and it is already the 2nd week in January, I am just going to be rolling 4 times, and I already have 2 other books on my TBR for the month already. So let's get into those first. So the first one that I have already on my list is one that I had started at the end of December and I just forgot to read, and that's going to be Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerri Maniscalco. This is a YA fantasy set in Sicily in some sort of historical period. We follow our main character Emilia, I think is how you pronounce her name, and her twin sister Victoria. They are both witches, and Nonna always tells them to never go out at night because the demons will get you and like eat your heart and stuff like that. And one night Victoria doesn't come home to their restaurant, discovered that she's actually murdered very, very brutally, and so Emilia decides to turn to the dark arts to summon a prince of hell to help her sort of figure out how her sister died, and that's basically all I know so much. I love Kerri Maniscalco's writing. I really, really enjoyed her Stalking Jack the Ripper series. It was one of the best series that I have read. I really enjoyed the historical aspects of it. So I am excited about this because it's a little bit more fantastical than what Stalking Jack the Ripper is. So I am excited to read it. I have already started it, have not got through very much of it whatsoever, but anyway. And the next book that I have on the list is going to be a reread, which is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. I am rereading this in anticipation, is what I was looking for the release of the 4th/5th book in the Court of Thorns and Roses series, which is A Court of Silver Flames. Comes out, I think, in March or something or other. So yes, I am going through this slowly, annotating and highlighting and all that jazz, so yes. So those are the 2 books that I have already on the TBR, which is why I'm only going to be adding like 4 more books to the list. That makes it 6. Why did I do that to myself? Anyway, I've done it. Let's roll the dice. So going to film it on my phone and we'll see what happens. Let's pray. All right, let's just pray that I get this. Here we have my desk. I've got my lovely little dice here. It is very, very pretty. All right, let's roll. That went really, really far away. So we have number 14, which is, I've closed the book, bloody hell. Promise you guys I'll get better at this, alright? I'm just really bad at this already. So number 14 is oldest publication date. Great! Oh, I don't know what that is. Let me have a look at Goodreads. I wonder what it's gonna be. Oh no, it's gonna be a classic. Apparently number 1 on the list is A Smoke in the Sun, which is the second book in the Flame in the Mist duology by Renee Yardier, and I don't understand why, because that's recently published. Makes no sense. But the second book on the list is Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. It was published back in 1982. Then we have Frankenstein. I'm pretty sure Frankenstein's older than that, right? When was Frankenstein published? Goodreads is letting me down. 1818. Okay, so far we have Frankenstein, and then we might have something else. The Iliad, maybe? Oh, this is gonna be all the classics. Oh, gosh. So I definitely think the oldest published book is going to be either the Iliad or Homer, the Iliad or the Odyssey, because they were written back in like, no, when was it published? I should have written that instead of written. When was it published? When was the Iliad published? 18th century BC. I think we have a winner. Alright, so I'm gonna read the Iliad. Yay! The Iliad by Homer. Oh, gee. Really didn't think this through. So this is, okay, so there seems like there is a glossary in the back, not glossary, appendix. And there is another appendix at the back. Oh, no, that's the whole book. Okay, alright, so this book so far is 442 pages. The Iliad by Homer, ladies and gentlemen. Editing that onto the list. Alright, let's do another roll. This, I'm already going to be starting off the year with a disadvantage, I can already tell. Great. Alright, here we have the dice. Let's get that natural 20. Alright, let's go. 4. Oh, what's number 4? Number 4, middle grade! Yes! Oh, I don't know what middle grade I want to read. I mean, I know what middle grade I want to read. It's Hollowpox, but I don't have it. Actually, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it. So, number 4 was a middle grade, and I'm going to be reading Hollowpox by Jessica Townsend. This is the 3rd book in the Nevermore / Morrigan Crow series. This follows our main character, Morrigan Crow, who back in the 1st book was said to be a cursed child. She was supposed to die on the eve of her 12th birthday, I think it is, and on the eve of her birthday, a magical, mysterious man called Jupiter North says that he's going to take her as his apprentice and whisks her away to the magical land of Nevermore, where he inducts her into this thing called the Wondrous Society. But in order for her to actually become inducted into the society, she needs to pass a series of trials that will, you know, prove that she is worthy of being a part of the group. So that's where the 1st book starts. 2nd book, it just takes another whole entire crazy ride. We get to learn more about the world, and I am just so excited to read this book. I know that it follows a sort of disease or sickness that is affecting a select group of beings from Nevermore, so I am excited to read this. Alright, now that's the 2nd roll. We have 2 more to go. Why did I decide 4? Why? 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 Dice, give it a little shake. Ooh, 16. Number 16 is to read an LGBTQ+ book. Oh, right. What do I have that's gay? Oh, I know. Let me just have another look around. Yeah, no, it's gonna have to be that one. I don't know any other ones. I mean, I do know other ones, but I don't have them on the list at the moment. Oh, no, I have a couple I could choose from. This was the 1st book that came into mind, so I'm going to read this one instead of the other one that I had. So, read an LGBTQ+ book is going to fall for Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nyang, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm really sorry if I butchered it. So this is one that I got during Christmas. From what I can remember about this book, it is set in a sort of Asian-inspired world where we have a sort of caste system, and I believe it's the Demon King who currently rules, and every year the Demon King takes 8 girls who are chosen to basically be his concubines, I think. And in the year that this is set, our main character Lee, I think it's Lee, she is picked and she goes to be the king's paper girl, which through that she also falls in love with another paper girl. And that's pretty much all I know. I'm hoping that there's meant to be some sort of, like, you know, overruling of the king and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm excited. That made me feel a lot better now. Alright, so we have our last roll. Alright, we have the dice. Oh bugger, I never know. This is either a 6 or it's a 9. I can never figure it out. Oh god. Okay, let me try and... Alright, so how does a 9 look? I don't know. Alright, so if it's at the bottom, it's a 6, and if it's at the top, it's a 9. Okay, so it was at... Oh, I didn't look. Oh, far out. Why am I like this? I'm such a mess. Alright, so it was at the bottom, which means that it is a 6. I've lost the page that I drew. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Alright, so it was at the bottom, which means it's a 6. So a 6 is to start a new series or complete a series. Or I guess if I wanted to be nice to myself, which, you know, I might, both the Paper Girls book and the Kingdom of the Wicked are both the start of a series. So I could pick those. Either one of them will be fine. I don't know if the Iliad is classed as a series or not. The Court of Thorns and Roses is also the start of a series, but I've already read it. So technically I would be continuing a series, but that would mean that I would have to pick whatever book that I'm currently up to, which is like the 3rd book of that series. So yeah, I'm just gonna put Girls with Paper and Fire down for that prompt because, like I said, we're already in the 2nd week and I have not read a single book yet. So this is the stack of books that I have plus Hollow Box for my January TBR. I really don't know how I feel about this. I think I'm going to have to do a couple of 24-hour readathons to see how far I can get through these. I'm not too worried about completing Court of Thorns and Roses because I am taking my time with it because I do want to annotate it and stuff like that. A little bit worried, but we shall see how this goes. Alrighty, so that is the end of this video. Let me know what you guys think of this whole TBR game. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know if there is other punishments I could add or other prompts I could add as well. Maybe next year I can make the prompts stuff that you guys have chosen. So yeah, let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed. Give this video a thumbs up if you did. If you want to stay up to date with what I am reading and how my reading is going, please check out my Goodreads, Twitter, Instagram, and all those types of stuff down in the description box. I always have the links to them listed down there, so be sure to check those out. And if you would also like to see more videos, then please click that subscribe button as well so you can stay up to date with what is happening in my life. And I will talk to you guys in another video later on.